It all begins in the majestic Rocky Mountains of Colorado, back in 1957. There, we meet Hope, a young woman answering a mysterious phone call. Her voice trembles as she explains she's at Alpine Lake, a secluded youth camp hidden deep within the mountains. She confides that she's been having strange dreams lately, dreams where 7 numbers keep appearing, burned into her mind. She adds that the phone she's using has no area code, and nervously asks if the person on the other end is also in Colorado. But there's only silence. Confused and frightened, she continues, saying the numbers are written in the ice. Still, there's no reply. Panic rises in her chest and she hangs up. Denver, 1982. A crowd of teenagers gathers around a street fight. The winner, Finney, a quiet but tough kid, stands victorious. His sister Gwen rushes over, half frustrated, half shocked, asking why he hit the other boy. Finney explains the kid was new and mocked him, saying he must feel brave for killing the serial killer that once terrorized them, the man who made Finney snap. He fought to prove he's not weak, but the strongest one there. That's when Ernesto appears, congratulates Finney for the fight, and, with a teasing grin, invites Gwen out, saying he's buying 2 concert tickets so they can go together. As Ernesto walks off, Finney groans that it was clearly a date. Gwen laughs, saying Ernesto's a good guy. Besides, since his late brother Robin once asked Finney to look out for him, the least he can do is be kind. Later that day, Finney says goodbye to his dad before sinking into his thoughts. The memories of the man behind the black phone, the masked killer known as the Grabber, start to haunt him again. Suddenly, Finney imagines the Grabber standing right in front of him, as real as a nightmare. Finney clenches his fists and warns, "If you touch me, I'll rip your face off." But just then, Gwen appears, and the vision vanishes. Concerned, she asks if he's okay. Finney mutters that she wouldn't understand. She reminds him softly that she'll always be there for him, no matter what. Amid snow-covered mountains, a young boy runs for his life through dark caves. He slips, falls, and a figure looms over him, stabbing relentlessly until his life fades. Beneath the freezing, crystal-clear water, the dying boy traces the letter W on the ice before disappearing. Gwen jolts awake, heart racing. The phone rings non-stop. She moves to answer, but it's not her phone ringing. Confused, she opens the front door and stares into the cold darkness. No one's there. Then Finney finds her outside, shivering, and says she was sleepwalking again. She tells him she had a nightmare. He brushes it off and tells her to go back to bed. The next morning at school, Gwen faces teasing from classmates who call her a witch. Ernesto appears again, trying to cheer her up. Nervously, he admits he's noticed her interest in the paranormal. Amused, she plays along, saying she loves ghosts and truly believes in life after death. Ernesto pulls out a small deck of cards, like tarot, and asks if she can read them. He's heard rumors about her dreams predicting the future. Gwen freezes. She's never told anyone about that. Ernesto admits he knows because his parents said she was the one who guided police to Robin's body, claiming she'd seen it in a dream. Gwen looks away, uncomfortable, and quickly changes the subject. Later, Finney walks down a street and hears a payphone ringing. Curious, he picks it up, says, "I can't help," and hangs up. But as he walks away, we see the phone is rusted and completely disconnected. The scene flickers. Back to the mountains. Another boy is running. A mysterious man catches him, beats him, and sets him ablaze. Beneath the water, the boy traces the letter B before fading away. Gwen wakes up again, terrified. Another nightmare. The phone rings once more. Terrified, she ignores it and runs outside. Through the fog, she spots the charred remains of a boy. She steps in blood without noticing, then rides her bike toward the woods. She climbs a wall and peers through a cabin window. Inside, darkness, an eerie echo, and a phone ringing in the basement. Drawn by an unseen force, Gwen descends the stairs and answers. On the line, Hope, the same voice from the beginning. She says she's calling from Alpine Lake, haunted by dreams of 7 numbers. This time, Gwen is the one listening. Shocked, Gwen says she's been having similar dreams, but hers show letters instead of numbers, and children trapped underwater. Hope goes silent, then hangs up. Suddenly, a man with an axe buried in his head appears behind Gwen. The door bursts open, and the phone rings again. Finney rushes in. Gwen, pale, says she just spoke to their mother, who called from a camp. Finney dismisses it, saying she's imagining things. But then, he notices a blood-written message on the wall. The Grabber burns in hell. Disturbed, Gwen researches the camp. She discovers Alpine Lake was once a Christian training camp, but it shut down years ago. Their father, Terrence, later admits their mother worked there before meeting him, but he wants nothing to do with it. Faith, he says, was never his thing. Soon Ernesto pulls up and offers Gwen a ride. Finney insists on coming too. The three drive through a snowy, fog-choked road until a woman on horseback appears. Mustang. She leads them to the camp, explaining that due to the storm, the camp's been canceled and they'll have to stay until the road's clear. That night, Mustang assigns separate cabins for boys and girls. Gwen goes to sleep but slips into another nightmare. This time, she sees a hand draw the letter H beneath the ice. She wakes up in terror. Outside, Finney sits by a fire, lost in thought, when he hears a phone ringing inside. He picks it up, annoyed, and says, "I'm not helping anyone." But the phone rings again. He answers, and a voice whispers, "Hello, Finney." At that same moment, Gwen hears noises under her bed. She looks underneath and sees a dead child's pale face staring back. The voice on Finney's phone murmurs chillingly, "There are no flames in hell, only ice." Panicking, he runs outside and finds Gwen screaming. He holds her close until she calms down. Later, Gwen tells Ernesto she had another nightmare and asks him to stay so she can feel safe. As Ernesto dozes off, she prays softly, begging God not to let her dream again. When he wakes, he teases her, saying it's kind of sexy when she talks to Jesus. Gwen shyly smiles, confessing her mom was Christian too, but her nightmares drove her insane. She fears the same will happen to her. Ernesto tells her she's beautiful, just like her mother. Just as they're about to kiss, Finney interrupts. Angry, he scolds Gwen for telling Ernesto about the dreams. She fires back that she had no one else to confide in. At breakfast, the counselors ask everyone to call their families. Armando, the head counselor, asks why they came if they're not part of any church. Gwen and Finney exchange glances and tell him the truth. They're there because of their mother. Armando recognizes her photo instantly. He remembers her as a woman full of light, saddened to learn she'd taken her own life. Suddenly, the payphone outside rings. Finney answers. A trembling child's voice whispers that she's cold and doesn't remember who she is. Then multiple voices, 3 children whispering together. Finney looks outside and sees them, frozen still. They're ghosts. They whisper in unison, "You have to find him." Back home, their father sees the news. Mountain roads are closed by the blizzard. Panicked, he calls a friend, trying to reach his kids. Meanwhile, Gwen questions Barbara, the camp's office keeper, about old rumors. Barbara glares and warns her to stop. This place is for prayer, not horror stories. She even hints Gwen deserves punishment for sinning with boys. That night, Gwen dreams again. She sees Hope Adler whispering that the numbers in her dreams are written on the frozen lake. The images distort. Dismembered bodies scattered across the ice. Gwen wakes up screaming. Doors slam. Finney hears the phone ring and wakes Ernesto. Gwen follows ghostly children through the hall. Finney answers the ringing phone despite Ernesto's warning not to. On the line, the grabber's voice. "You took your time," he says, "but you finally remembered." Finney freezes. "You're dead," he whispers. The grabber chuckles. "Death is just a word." At the same time, Gwen comes face to face with him in her dream. He throws her across the room. The others rush in and find her lying on the floor, alone, unconscious. Everyone gathers in fear. They can't deny the truth anymore. Something supernatural is happening. Gwen explains her dreams. A boy in a yellow parka, another in white, a third burned alive. Armando recognizes one, Kelvin, a boy whose clothes were found but never his body. Finney mentions the grabber. Everyone goes silent. Armando reveals that the camp's original owner shut it down after 2 children vanished. When the man died, Armando bought the property to keep searching. He now believes Gwen is the one chosen to free the trapped souls. Looking through old photos, Finney spots a familiar face, the grabbers. Armando explains his name was Bell, once a violent camp member who used the frozen lake for hockey. The letters Gwen saw, WBH, spelled out his name. Mustang concludes that if they can find the children's bodies beneath the lake, the grabbers' power will finally end. At dawn, they head for the frozen lake. Hours of digging bring nothing. Exhausted, they return. Finney promises to watch over Gwen as she sleeps. In her dream, she sees her mother, Hope, wandering an old basement. A chained boy cries for help. Then Belle appears, laughing with black balloons. The grabber kidnaps Hope, killing her to silence her visions. Gwen realizes her mother didn't die by suicide. She was murdered. The grabber attacks Gwen, slashing her hand. She bleeds both in dream and reality. The others try to wake her. Inside the dream, she hears Finney's voice urging her to fight. Gathering her courage, she faces the grabber and strikes him, breaking the nightmare's hold. She wakes, gasping, and shouts that Armando's at the lake. They rush and rescue him alive. Their father soon arrives, demanding they leave. Gwen refuses, confronting him with the truth about their mother. Terrence breaks down, agreeing to stay and help. That night, Gwen pretends to sleep and slips back into the dream. Beneath the frozen lake, she sees the missing children's bodies trapped in ice. Desperate, she frees them one by one. On the surface, Finney battles the grabber like a wild beast. Their father dives into the icy water to help pull Gwen out. In the dream world, Gwen stands before the grabber. He sneers, "You're all alone." She clenches her fists. "No, I'm not." Lights appear around her, the spirits of the lost children. Together, they overpower him. Finney appears beside her, fearless. "There's no fire in hell," he says, "only ice." They push him into the lake as ghostly hands drag him beneath. His mask cracks, his body freezes forever under the ice. Gwen wakes up in Ernesto's arms, gasping. He holds her tightly as relief floods the camp. Armando calls the parents of the lost children, voice trembling. We found them. As the sun rises over the calm, thawing lake, Gwen hears one last phone ring. No one else hears it. She answers. Her mother's soft voice speaks. I don't have much time, but I'm in a beautiful place now, at peace. Thank you for freeing the children. The curse was never a punishment. It was a gift. She asks Gwen to tell Finney she loves him, and that Robin says hi. The line fades. Tears fill Gwen's eyes. She tells her brother everything. Their father embraces them both. They drive away as the sunlight reflects off the quiet lake. Finally still, finally free. And that's how this story ends.